ZipRecruiter to help grow their teams. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/GREENY. ESPN app.
1050 ESPN New York. The biggest names and the biggest games. WEPN New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Now on Sports Center all night. Championship week continues.
4-3, back for Williamson for the win. Davian Williamson pumps in a 3 with 2:10 left.
A legendary coaching career comes to an end.
I think you missed it. I gave my retirement speech on the court last Saturday, and I gave it in the press conference afterwards, and nobody except William Payne figured it out.
The latest on the Lamar Jackson situation.
Either Lamar Jackson is going to wind up signing a contract that is not fully guaranteed with someone, or others are going to join the fight. He will not win this by himself. He just won't.
Plus, we go up and down the court with the NBA.
Heat check at the best possible time from McCullough.
This is Sports Center all night.
I hope you in a better situation than you in now, because it ain't happening right now, champ. You're not a champ.
Here's Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. They're currently the 4 seed in the Western Conference. They became a favorite at the trade deadline when they made that huge deal. They get Kevin Durant from the Nets, and the Suns win their first 3 games with him on the court. Those were on the road Wednesday. That date was circled on the calendar in Phoenix. ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
I think if he had his druthers, he would get things back to a routine and to normal, to use his words, as fast as possible. But he realizes that there's been a bubbling sense of excitement here ever since the biggest trade in history of the franchise about a month ago. And so he knows that the crowd in here is going to be fiery, and it's going to be sort of an event here in Phoenix.
Sort of an event. Sort of. All kinds of anticipation until pregame warmups when Durant slipped while going for a shot in the lane. He landed on the court, stayed there a few seconds, ultimately got up, finished his pregame warmups, but that was the end of his night. Suns didn't play him.
He's out there working his tail off, getting ready for the game, and he twists his ankle. So, I mean, you can't get frustrated about that. It's life. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for him because he feels bad. He feels like, I saw his face, and I've been around him so many times. I know what he's feeling, and I don't want him feeling that way at all. Our group has adapted to a number of things all year long, from the summer until now, and this is no different. So we'll do our best to get him healthy and get him back out there on the floor.
Coach Monty Williams, quite the letdown for the folks in Phoenix, at least the not seeing KD part. The game wasn't really a letdown for them. The Suns doing just fine.
Under 9 minutes left. Suns by 31 now. Booker on the drive against Terrence Mann. Spins him baseline. Fades from 15. Hits money for Buck. Give him 41 on the night. None prettier than that little dribbling expedition against Trey Mann from the right wing. Quick outlet pass. Booker up the left side. Steps into a 3 in transition and gets it to go. D-Book's got 44 on the night. And the Suns lead it by 36.
It wasn't even that close for Phoenix as they rolled to the 132-101 win. Arizona Sports 98-7, 44 points for Phoenix in the third quarter, their most in a single quarter this season. 31-point margin of victory, their second largest this year. 44 points for Devin Booker in the win. Fourth straight 35-point game, longest streak in Suns history. Suns get the win without KD, injured before the game. Mavericks lose to the Pelicans 113-106. Luka Doncic, 15 points on 4 of 14 shooting, left the game with a thigh injury, and he didn't return. So Luka out early. Kevin Durant didn't play. In New Orleans, Pelicans say Zion Williamson out at least 2 more weeks, although his right hamstring is showing improvement. He's been out since January 2nd, and John Morant still out for the Grizzlies, but he won't be facing charges from authorities in Colorado. They say there wasn't enough available evidence to charge anyone with a crime, nor was there anyone at the club who came forward to make a complaint. So no legal trouble for Morant here, but he's still away from the team. The NBA continues to investigate. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. So Morant out, Zion out, KD out, and Jim Boeheim is out. After 6 decades at Syracuse, including the last 47 seasons as the coach of the Orange, Syracuse announcing that Boeheim has coached his last game. The news coming on the heels of their loss in the ACC tournament Wednesday. Boeheim, right after the game, let it be known somewhat cryptically that it is not a retirement.
I've just been lucky to be able to coach this long. I think
to make a complaint. So no legal trouble for Morant here, but he's still away from the team. The NBA continues to investigate. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. So Morant out, Zion out, KD out, and Jim Boeheim is out. After 6 decades at Syracuse, including the last 47 seasons as the coach of the Orange, Syracuse announcing that Boeheim has coached his last game. The news coming on the heels of their loss in the ACC tournament Wednesday. Boeheim, right after the game, let it be known somewhat cryptically that it is not a retirement.
I've just been lucky to be able to coach this long. I think you missed it. I gave my retirement speech on the court last Saturday, and I gave it in the press conference afterwards, and nobody except William Payne figured it out.
So are you saying right now that you're going to retire?
This is up to the university.
You want to come back?
I didn't say that.
Okay, but so what are you saying? You're not saying you're retiring, but you're not saying...
I just said it. I don't know.
So you don't know? Okay.
I said this is up to the university.
And you're not sure whether you're... How will you make a determination about when you will come back?
You're talking to the wrong guy.
And shortly after that exchange, Syracuse announcing Boeheim is out. And longtime assistant Adrian Autry is taking over the program. In his 47 seasons coaching Syracuse, Boeheim took the team to the NCAA tournament 35 times, reached the Final Four 4 times, won the national championship in 2003. ESPN analyst Jay Billis.
I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I feel grateful that we had Jim Boeheim for so long and that he did such an amazing job and has been such an icon in the game for so long. You know, he started recruiting me when I was 17 years old, growing up in Los Angeles, and I've known him for that long. And he's not only been a friend and a mentor, but one of the truly great coaches in the game's history. I do feel for him that this was not perhaps the way he wanted. That wasn't the most graceful way that this could have been handled. But I don't think anybody now talks about Willie Mays and worries about, you know, his last year with the Mets. It has been an amazing career, and I feel like celebrating it rather than worrying about how the very end happened. He's just been an amazing coach for an incredibly long time. I mean, you mentioned it. When he got there as a player, John F. Kennedy was president. When he became the head coach, Gerald Ford was president. And none of these players know a world without Jim Boeheim as the Syracuse head coach.
Yeah, upstate guy from New York, of course, nearly 60 years on that campus. What's Boeheim's legacy in your mind?
I think Jim Boeheim's legacy is one of the truly great coaches and strategists and innovators in the game's history. You can't mention a 2-3 zone without Jim Boeheim coming up first. He took that and made it into an art form. He made it one of the most feared defenses in basketball. He was consulted first by everyone from the NBA all around the world on how to play that zone and how to play it well. He went to multiple Final Fours with it, won a national championship in 2003 behind Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara and Hakeem Warwick. He's just been associated with the game for so many decades. It's hard to think, just like it was with Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams and Dean Smith and John Wooden, Bob Knight, you name it, Jim Calhoun. It's hard to think about the game without Jim Boeheim's name coming up among the Mount Rushmore types. That's how important he's been to the game. And you mentioned the Big East. I think those Big East battles, whether it was the 6 overtime game against UConn back in the day, or all those back alley brawls he had with Georgetown and Villanova, you name it. Jim Boeheim is synonymous with basketball, and I'm grateful I got to be around for so much of it.
Jim Boeheim, 78 years old. He won 1,015 games at Syracuse. Also had 101 wins vacated because of NCAA rules violations that resulted in sanctions. He won 1,015 games, lost 441, and his final game with Syracuse is a loss at the buzzer.
Williams off the left elbow, back to the basket. Drives on Clinton to the foul line, terminates. Hands off for Girard with 7 to shoot. Williamson on him. Girard with 5, now 4. Girard, the jumper off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded by Williamson. 6 seconds to go, shot clock off. Appleby at midcourt. Girard walls him off. Bounce pass right, 2. Williamson for the win. He got it! He got it! 0.2 seconds left. Damian Williamson has won it for Wake Forest.
Matt Park, Learfield, Syracuse losing at the buzzer, ending Jim Boeheim's tenure. As for Wake, they move on to face Miami in the quarterfinals. Champ Week continues, including the ACC tournament. Quarterfinal action is here on ESPN Radio today. Quadruple header of action, and our coverage begins at 11:30 Eastern with that Wake-Miami game. ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80. Right now, Sports Center all night. Then there's North Carolina. They started the year ranked number 1, but now a bubble team. They haven't been on the right side of the bubble lately. They started Wednesday on Joe Lunardi's list of first 4 out. So they need to make a run in the ACC tournament. Wednesday, facing BC.
Ashton Langford nearly took it away from Love between the circles. He zips it left for Black, who dribbles into the paint. Kick out, left wing 3 is good. Caleb Love, his great night gets even better as North Carolina is up by 24. 4 minutes into the second half, UNC gets it across midcourt, under pressure, and a slam from the right side. Dontrez Styles with exactly that, some flair and a flourish at the basket, 79-55.
BC forced to be aggressive, try to get recklessly into passing lanes. That allows for airborne movement of the ball for an easy dunk finish.
Mike Cousins, Jordan Cornette calling it here on ESPN Radio. North Carolina rolls 85-61 to advance. Tar Heels will face number 2 Virginia, the 2 seed in the tournament, in the quarterfinals on Tuesday. They split their regular season series, each winning at home. North Carolina moving up slightly, although Joe Lunardi still has them in the first 4 out. Pitt, an 89-81 win over Georgia Tech. Pitt advances to face the 4 seed Duke in the quarterfinal round. NC State, a 20-point rout of Virginia Tech. They'll face Clemson in the quarterfinals. They swept Clemson in the regular season series. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
If you're a Ravens fan, you're looking around at Lamar and you're thinking, man, if we don't have Lamar, we don't have a chance.
They've seen that this offense, which has basically been built around Lamar Jackson's skill set, is not really workable with a different quarterback. And if they were to move on from him, I think they would have to rebuild in a number of ways.
If the Sides can't reach a new deal by March 7th, the Ravens will place the franchise tag on Jackson to keep him from becoming a free agent.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens did not come to terms on a deal, and as expected, Baltimore did use the franchise tag on their quarterback. Now the curiosity continues as to what the market will be. At least a handful of teams have let it be known they're not really interested. Ravens using the non-exclusive tag, which means other teams can make an offer. Baltimore can match it. But ESPN insider Adam Schefter says it's easier said than done.
Lamar Jackson is trying to do something that has never been done in free agency before. Now, he could be just the guy to do it, as talented and as elite a talent as he is. But if we go back over the 30 years of free agency, full 30 years, There's been only one player ever to receive the non-franchise tag, sign an offer sheet with another team, and wind up on that team, and that was Sean Gilbert, the great defensive tackle in 1998, who signed an offer sheet with Carolina. Washington declined to match, and he wound up on Carolina. There has never been a quarterback who's gotten the non-exclusive franchise tag who so much as signed an offer sheet with another team. And I think that's probably one element that Baltimore was thinking when it decided to put the lower tag on Lamar Jackson. He faces other obstacles now as well, because as he looks to seek that contract, any team that signs him to an offer sheet would have to have that money counting against their salary cap for the full week until Baltimore determined whether or not to match that offer sheet. So it's a situation where if he were to sign a 4-year, $200 million deal with the Carolina Panthers, Baltimore ultimately might match it because they want Lamar Jackson back. But in the interim, that money would have to be free on their cap and would count against their cap, which could take up their cap for the first 7 days of free agency if that's when they decided to act. There's a lot of questions to answer, but Lamar Jackson now will have to figure them out as he attempts to get that fully guaranteed contract that a lot of people believe he deserves.
I've been told there was no math involved here. We'll see what the market is for Lamar Jackson as we head towards free agency as well. Straight ahead, college coaching tenure comes to an end, and it's not Jim Boeheim. That's next. Sports Center all night at ESPN Radio.
Coming up Thursday, the Jets may be chasing the big fish in Aaron Rodgers. But I'll tell you, while Lamar Jackson would be a better option in New York City. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
This is Sports Center all night. Join us for our inaugural Pickleball Madness Tournament on Saturday, March 18th at the Agape Pickleball Center at Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. The event is open to the public. Come press the flesh with the 710 team and watch them dink and lob all over the court. Bring the entire family and enjoy all the festivities starting at 10 a.m. We'll have TVs to watch the college basketball game, Pop-A-Shot competitions, pickleball demos, complimentary food, a beer garden, a kid zone, giveaways, and more.
Special thanks to our partners, Solo All-Electric Car, Stretch Labs, and Islands Restaurants.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Travis Lee, live from LA Live.
Back Monday morning at 10 a.m. after KJM. There's a lot going on, Slee, so people should come out and see us get our clocks cleaned at pickleball.
Well, and if you're not a pickleball person, if you want to watch real athletes, just as an example, I'll be practicing later this week on Thursday.
For the first time.
For the first time.
You know you hold it by the skinny end, not by the fat end.
Okay, I had it on the... I was trying to use...
You hit it with the little stick part.
Yep, I was actually stabbing at it. Just get it back.
It's not fencing. It's
Why are you outside the lines? Oh, so we're inside the lines? Okay, got it.
You can't go in the box. The only place you can go is in the kitchen. That little sliver right before the net. That's all you can do.
We're going to look terrific.
I really would. Catch Travis Lee every weekday morning at 10 a.m. right here
on 710 ESPN. Wake up with Key, J, Will, and Max.
Nobody does LA mornings like KJM.
I'm like, man, it's cold. You know, I know the heater's already on because they got it. You know, I can barely breathe. They be cooking in there. So
where's your family keep the heat thermostat at, though? 72, 73?
No, it'd be like at 76 degrees.
Like, man, 77,
I can't
77
breathe.
degrees.
You don't really usually need a thermostat in LA.
Nose bleeding and everything.
LA mornings with LA Zone Keyshawn.
Monday morning till 10 a.m.
on 710 ESPN. I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You are never too old for a family. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is dedicated to finding forever families for children who have been waiting in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning on LA's mega sports station. LA Sports Talk all day long. 710 ESPN.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
So much for the best home court record in the NBA. That's straight ahead. Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. The Grizzlies and Warriors matchup has certainly become one of the more entertaining rivalries in the NBA. And there's words involved. Last Friday, Dylan Brooks says he doesn't like Golden State, or Draymond Green added that the Warriors forward, quote, talks a lot. Well, Draymond Green has a podcast, and Wednesday he talked.
If you ever wondered why the Memphis Grizzlies is not ready to compete for a championship, look no further than this idiot right here. They're actually depending on this guy to help them win a championship. And he says his game is cool. Quite frankly, that just shows how little you know about basketball. And yet, you running around talking about a dynasty? The dynasty starts after you, not with you. When you contribute in the way that I have contributed to 4 championships, they tend to like you. So next time you speak up on me, you should do some fact checking. Next time you speak up on me, you should do some soul searching. Next time you speak up on me, I hope you're in a better situation than you in now, where the guys you play with actually enjoy playing with you because they actually think you're contributing to winning. Because it ain't happening right now, champ. You're not a champ.
Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks will renew their acquaintances tonight. The teams meet in Memphis. Memphis, of course, lost to Golden State in 6 last year in the playoffs. The Warriors have won the first 2 regular season meetings this year, and they meet again tonight. Wednesday in L.A., Clippers hosting the Raptors.
Leonard left to right, 5:20 to play in the fourth. Leonard into the front court, down the left alley. Leonard attacking. Oh! Kawhi Leonard! The biggest Kawhi light of the year! He just poster Pirtle. He put him in the rim. There's a body lying inside.
AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers beat the Raptors by 8. Leonard, 24 points, 12 rebounds against his former team.
I feel good. We got 2 wins in a row. That's all I'm worried about right now, trying to just keep collecting these wins, and we've got to keep building, so hopefully we can get one on Saturday.
In those 2 wins in a row now, what are the signs you're seeing from your team that lets you know, all right, we're a dangerous team in a postseason?
We had some carryover from the fourth quarter of the last game, and we kind of carried this over to this Toronto game playing defense, and we was able to get out of transition and get easy points.
Clippers get the win, 108-100. They're 6-0. Kawhi Leonard is 6-0 against the Raptors since leaving the team after the 2019 season. The top seed in the West stumbling at home against the Bulls.
Levine, right side, leaves her three. Nothing but net. Timeout, Denver, 104-83. The Bulls lead by 21 on the road.
Chuck Swirsky, 670. The Fan. Chicago with its largest road win of the season, and they do it in Denver. 117-96, 21-point margin of victory for the Nuggets. Fewest points scored in a home game this season. First time losing a home game by more than 3 this year. Lose by 21. Nuggets actually led by 10, lost by 21. They entered Wednesday 27-1 this season when leading by double digits at home. The other loss was mid-November against the Knicks. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Back to college, but will Patrick Ewing be back? Georgetown losing to Villanova in the first round of the Big East tournament on Wednesday. Last place, Georgetown, 7-25 on the season, and the school has given no indication whether Patrick Ewing will be back for a 7th season. The athletic director declining comment on Wednesday. Power conferences getting their action into full swing. Meanwhile, there was the Patriot League Wednesday, where top-seeded Colgate punches its ticket again.
The Colgate Raiders are going back to the big dance. Colgate clinches a Patriot League record-tying 6th tournament title and becomes the first team in the Patriot to three-peat in 2 decades.
Westwood won with the call, 79-61 the final over Lafayette. Colgate, 6th NCAA tournament appearance. They've yet to win an NCAA tournament game. They are projected as a 15 seed in this year's bracket, according to ESPN's Joel Lenardi. The top 2 seeds matching up in the Southland Conference.
The Islanders return to the NCAA tournament. Islanders, your 2023 Southland Conference tournament champions.
Texas A&M Corpus Christi gets the victory, 1440 AM with the call. Big Sky, where the run for the 9 seed Northern Arizona comes to an end against Montana State.
Put a stamp on it. You are witnessing the golden age of Bobcat basketball. Montana State is the 2023 Big Sky Tournament champion. The confetti shoots into the air, and Montana State is back-to-back Big Sky Tournament champs. The 2nd consecutive year, first time in program history, they have gone to back-to-back big dances.
85-78 the final. Montana State gets the Big Sky championship. Why would you speak out and say no? That's next. Sports Center all night at ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Greeny, and I hope that you're enjoying listening to ESPN Radio. I myself am feverishly updating Twitter every 5 seconds to see the very latest on Aaron Rodgers, and we'll continue to talk about it with you. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio. And
Join us for our inaugural Pickleball Madness Tournament on Saturday, March 18th at the Agape Pickleball Center at Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. The event is open to the public. Come press the flesh with the 710 team and watch them dink and lob all over the court. Bring the entire family and enjoy all the festivities starting at 10 a.m. We'll have TVs to watch the college basketball game, Pop-A-Shot competitions, pickleball demos, complimentary food, a beer garden, a kid zone, giveaways, and more.
Special thanks to our partners, Michelob Ultra, Bud White Seltzer, and Pizza Hut.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means, wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait. Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting.
A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Transitioning out of the military, it's difficult. Just about everything around you changes. I would get phone calls that brothers were dying, some of them to suicide. And I found myself in another cold cemetery. And I started to wonder if I was next. It's a struggle to know that you're facing challenges, but not be ready to face them. Sleep doesn't come easy. And when it comes, it doesn't last long. You're tired all the time. I didn't reach out for that help, but thank God my wife did. She got me registered for Wounded Warrior Project. Talking to somebody that would listen to me and understood my story helped me realize that it was time to change. There's a new fight. There's a new mission, and that's something I am eternally grateful for.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning.
LA Sports Talk all day long. 710 ESPN. Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com.
Half-hour headlines on Sports Center All Night.
Jim Boeheim out as coach at Syracuse after 47 years. Kevin Durant was to make his home debut for the Suns, but injured his ankle during pregame warm-ups. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic left with a thigh injury in the Mavericks' loss to the Pelicans. NFL offseason continues with a lot of decisions to be made.
With Lamar Jackson, there is going to be a lot of drama in the coming weeks, if not months.
He should stand firm, put his feet in the ground, and say, hey, look, I need the guaranteed money. I'm not willing to go ahead and play this thing out year to year.
If he decides they're not going to give me what I want, I don't want to be here, he needs to demand a trade.
Why would he take a discount in this situation when there are other viable teams that would treat him better and pay him every penny he wants? Like, why would you take less than that to stay with Baltimore?
Ravens used the franchise tag on Lamar Jackson Tuesday, the non-exclusive tag. The expectation was that there would be a number of teams leaping at the opportunity. Were the teams not interested? Falcons, Raiders, Panthers, Dolphins, Commanders, all reportedly out. It's kind of a head-scratcher for ESPN analyst Ryan Clark.
Let's think about the draft. Let's think about any situation where teams are working on getting with players or becoming better. Nobody publicly says anything, right? They hold things close to the vest. They try to make sure that you don't know, maybe we are going to try and get this quarterback, or maybe we are going to bring him in. Maybe we are looking at this guy in the draft of free agency. But now all of a sudden with Lamar Jackson, we all want to get the megaphone and say, hey, guess what? We don't want him. You know what? When Carson Wentz was on the market last year, we went and we traded for him, Washington. But hell no, we don't want Lamar. Carolina, Atlanta, when Deshaun Watson was available, hell, we wanted him. But Lamar Jackson, hell no. Why all of a sudden are all these teams who need quarterbacks trying to make it public that they don't want Lamar Jackson? Yeah. Because at the Combine, Baltimore talked to him, and they already knew that they didn't want Lamar Jackson because it's collusion. It's the way it works. That's why the NFLPA sued after the 2011 lockout. This is part of it.
Baltimore using the franchise tag on their quarterback. New York Giants used theirs on their running back. Saquon Barkley getting the tag this week, although could be more of a placeholder with the sides talking. Giants had also talked with their quarterback. They were able to land a 4-year extension with Daniel Jones. ESPN Giants reporter Jordan Ronan.
I asked Joe Shane on a conference call. I said, what were you most looking to get out of this deal? And he said, knowing that we have our franchise quarterback and we have him signed long term. He mentioned using the franchise tag as the worst case scenario. If you think back to the season, Daniel Jones had a strong season. The Giants obviously made their decision during the season that this was going to be a guy that they not only wanted to keep, but they wanted to build around. Shane even came out in his end of season press conference, and he probably slipped a little bit and said, you know, he's going to be back this year. So we knew Jones was going to be back either on a long-term deal or on the franchise tag. Now, the thing was, in order to build the team the Giants want around him, they were going to need to get him signed long-term because that $32.4 million on a quarterback franchise tag takes up a lot of the cap. And as one source told me, if Daniel Jones wanted to play with the same weapons and receiving core as he did last year, then that's what would have happened if he played on the franchise tag.
How about Saquon Barkley, of course, Daniel Jones' best weapon? Where do things stand with them trying to get that long-term deal done with Saquon, considering they had to use the non-exclusive franchise tag on him?
The fact that they signed Jones long-term made assured the Giants that Saquon Barkley will now return as well, right? Because he now has the franchise tag. Now, Joe Shane actually just said this as well. He said there's a standing offer that's out to Saquon Barkley as we speak right here. Now, my understanding is that the Giants offer has gotten up into the $13 million range. What I heard before this all started was the $14 million point would probably be a number that Saquon would accept and the deal can get done at that number. Now, he kind of loses leverage. So the tag right now to me is really just a placeholder because the worst case scenario, the nightmare scenario for Saquon Barkley as a running back with an injury history, entering his sixth season would be to play this season on the franchise tag because that provides no security. So he doesn't want that. So that deal that's sitting on the table or that they talked about in the past probably looks a lot better right now with the franchise tag now hanging over his head and saying, okay, wait, we could just pay you $10.1 million to the Giants. That's a good deal for the Giants. They already have a better offer on the table right now.
Giants say they've also begun negotiations with defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, slated to play on the fifth-year option from his rookie deal at about $12.5 million. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. As for New York's other team, the Jets had a contingent fly to California this week to chat with Aaron Rodgers. ESPN insider Adam Schefter says that doesn't make it a done deal.
Pump the brakes. There's a lot that has to happen first. For starters, that meeting had to go well, and it sounds like it did. Both sides had to get to know each other. Then there would have to be the difficult breakup between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers that neither side has been willing to do for a couple of years now. Then the Green Bay Packers and New York Jets would have to agree to compensation, which is not going to be easy to do. And Aaron Rodgers would have to be willing to restructure his contract. There's a lot that has to happen before he would become the quarterback of the New York Jets. Now, at this point in time, they are the most likely suitor, the most logical landing spot, but Aaron Rodgers still has to decide that he wants to play when he's been considering retiring once he came out of the darkness. So there are a whole host of issues that have to take place before Jets fans can start thinking about number 12 as their new quarterback.
Adam Schefter talking about that potentially difficult breakup in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, of course, Packers all-time great. So what has changed in Green Bay? ESPN Packers reporter Rob Domofsky.
8-9. That's what changed things. The Packers record last year. When they signed him to that 3-year $150 million deal a year ago next week. That was not just a one-year deal. General Manager Brian Gutekunst said as recently as December, we did that with more than just 1 year in mind. But then when we talked to Gutekunst at the Combine, he admitted that some things that happened last season, didn't say specifically, but you can pretty much say, well, they didn't win enough games. He said that changed our thinking a little bit. And you can deal with a lot of stuff when you're winning 13 games, but the minute a guy, doesn't lead you to the playoffs, maybe you look at things a little bit differently. And, I think that's where they're at right now. It's easy to put up with, and put up is the wrong word, because it's not like they were bothered by him, but I'll just use that word for lack of a better one. It's easier to put up with things that are perceived to maybe be distractions, or at least at the very least unconventional, when you're 13-4. It's a little easier to say, wow, we don't need to deal with this when you're 8-9. And certainly I think there's, some teams would need to find out, exactly what they're getting themselves into with him. He is a very thoughtful, intellectual guy. And sometimes that doesn't always sit well with people, and he's even said it himself. People want us to be robots and just shut up and play. And that's not him. If that's what you want, you're looking at the wrong guy.
Moving teams is an option for Aaron Rodgers. If he doesn't stay in Green Bay, so is retirement. But moving teams is an option, and the Jets certainly one of those teams interested. There is potential in New York. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Chris Canty.
Now, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers doesn't give this team definitively a better chance of winning the division and competing for a championship, but we also have to level set expectations. We are talking about a quarterback going into his age 40 season, and we saw a little bit of regression last year as opposed to what we saw in 2020 and 2021 with the back-to-back MVP seasons. So I think you have to go into this with clear eyes if you're in the New York Jets, and you also have to go into this with some kind of assurance from Aaron Rodgers that it's going to be longer than just a one-year proposition, because there's a learning curve when it comes to competing for championships. It doesn't happen overnight.
Aaron Rodgers had let it be known that he would make his decision soon. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Decision in basketball. Champ Week always comes with drama, and added to that on Wednesday was the drama of a last-second loss for Syracuse in the ACC tournament. Wake getting a three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. After the loss, the school making it known that Jim Boeheim is out as head coach after 47 years. Jim Boeheim, in his press conference, letting it be known that it's not his decision. It was the school's decision. The school promoting longtime assistant Adrian Autry to take over the program. Earlier on ESPN Radio, reaction from our PJ Carlissimo.
My first reaction, I was just really upset and angry, and don't feel a heck of a lot different now, but I'm just probably a little more reflective than I was then. I mean, it's just hard to imagine you can. Jim went there in '62, I think, when he graduated high school. He's been there since 1962. I mean, he went to undergrad, he went to graduate school. He was an assistant coach, and he was a head coach. And it was the only place he ever wanted to be, which is strange in itself. But that's where he wanted to be. That's how strongly he felt about his school, that city, obviously their basketball program. And to me, it's almost unfathomable that you can, win over 1,000 games. Mike's the only one that's won more games than he's won. Win a national championship, been to 5 Final Fours. Represent the country at the Olympics 3 times and win gold medals with Mike and 2 world championships. And when you got a guy that wants to be there, it's the only place he ever wanted to be. Could have gone a million places in college and probably the NBA. And when he still wants to coach there and they tell him he can't, that's a disgrace. There's no other word for it. It's an absolute disgrace.
Jim Boeheim, an impressive resume over his 47 years at Syracuse. That resume, of course, includes the heyday of the Big East. PJ Carlissimo was part of that, coaching at Seton Hall.
The Big East is owed to 5 people, really. Dave Gavitt, of course.
Sure.
But the 4 coaches were Rollie Massimino, Louis Carnesecca, John Thompson, and of course Jim. And Jim, was still coaching of the originals. He was still coaching until today, and that's sad because he can not still coach. He's a great coach still, and it's really sad. It's mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling.
Jim Boeheim and Syracuse with the loss to Wake Forest in the ACC tournament, 77-74. Wake Forest advancing to face Miami on Thursday. You'll hear it here on ESPN Radio. You'll see it on ESPN2. Our coverage begins at 11:30 Eastern Time. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Speaking of the Big East, first round action there. St. John's a 76-63 win over Butler. St. John's advances to face the 1 seed in Marquette in the quarterfinal round. DePaul gets past Seton Hall by 1. 66-65. DePaul gets to the 2 seed in Xavier. DePaul snapping a 12-game losing streak with their first win since January 18th. Pac-12, Colorado gets past Washington. Colorado gets the top seed UCLA Thursday in the quarterfinal round. Washington State, 69-52 win over Cal. Washington State gets the 4 seed Oregon in the quarterfinal action. And Stanford with a 73-60 win over Utah. The Cardinals' second straight season winning the first round of the Pac-12 tournament. 11-point victory, largest margin against Utah since 2013. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Back to the hardwood. Mavs losing Luka Doncic to a thigh injury. He left the game, didn't return. The Pelicans taking advantage.
McCollum bumped by Bertans. Through the legs twice, crosses him over. Left angle 3. Oh, take that. Get in there! Christian James McCollum. Have some. He's got 27. What a move. McCollum, left corner. Bounce feed to Marshall, back to CJ. Pop another 3. Oh! Rumble, young man. Straight away. Rumble. Heat check at the best possible time for McCollum.
ESPN New Orleans with the call. McCollum, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists as the Pelicans beat the Mavs 113-106. McCollum scoring 16 of his 32 points in the fourth quarter. Celtics 115-93 win over Portland. Jason Tatum, 36th 30-point game this season. Celtics 93 points allowed, second fewest this season. Hawks top the Wizards 122-120. Trae Young, 28 points and 10 assists, his 25th game with 20 and 10. Cavs a 4-point win over the Heat, 104-100. They've won 2 of the last 3 games in Miami. Straight ahead, what can we expect this weekend on the Lynx? Sports Center all night continues at ESPN Radio.
Coming up Thursday, there is no doubt Kevin Durant makes the Phoenix Suns a title contender. But I'll tell you why the Suns are not the best team in the West, not even the second best team in the West. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
More Sports Center all night. Next.
Join us for our inaugural Pickleball Madness Tournament on Saturday, March 18th at the Agape Pickleball Center in Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. The event is open to the public. Come press the flesh with the 710 team and watch them dink and lob all over the court. Bring the entire family and enjoy all the festivities starting at 10 a.m. We'll have TVs to watch the college basketball game, Pop-A-Shot competitions, pickleball demos, complimentary food, a beer garden, a kid zone, giveaways, and more.
Special thanks to our partners, Valvoline Instant Oil Change, One More Paddle, and Celsius.
Sitting on a high, glorious hilltop overlooking the San Gabriel Mountains, you'll find the hottest bar and restaurant Los Angeles offers. Red Restaurant is an upscale dining experience where the finest steaks, freshest seafood, and most stunning cocktails are served. Enjoy a delicious meal while taking in the majestic views. Red is perfect for scrumptious breakfast, power lunches, and romantic evenings. Call 626-854-2509 or go to PacificPalmsResort.com to book your reservation at Red Restaurant today.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans, it's a story that rings true. We learn to endure the heat in silence. We apply what we learn to life. The bills, the job, the family. Things we're expected to handle with ease. When life heats up around us, we just try to stay afloat. We let the water boil. Reaching out isn't easy, but you've never been interested in easy. You joined because you were not afraid of hard work. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait until the water boils. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the sheep sleep tonight. Oh, in the jungle, the quiet jungle, the sheep sleep tonight. Oh,
It just isn't the same without the lion. Join the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance today. Visit sdzwa.org.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help, 1-800-222-1222.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
We're taking you to Key, Jay, and Max, 6 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN Radio. Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. A former girlfriend of Tiger Woods has asked a judge to resolve a dispute over a non-disclosure agreement. Erica Herman filed the move this week, calling the NDA invalid and unenforceable, and that a trust controlled by Woods is wrongfully using it against her. Eyes of the golf world are on Sawgrass this weekend. Who's someone we should expect to see near the top of the leaderboard? ESPN analyst Andy North.
I think if you look at the guys who have played this golf course exceptionally well, you look at Brian Harmon. He's had a bunch of top fives over his career here. He's a player that really likes playing here. He puts the ball in the fairway, and he's a really good putter from 6 and 8 feet, and you've got to make a lot of those this week. So Brian Harmon is your guy, and the odds are pretty high on him, so that'd be a good bet.
So we've got somebody who's in the top 5. Who do you think is going to win this week, and why?
I really do like Justin Thomas. He won here a couple of years ago. He shot 12 under on the weekend. He's a player that can work the ball both directions very well, high, low, left, right. And then you have to do that here. There's a lot of different tee shots you have to play here, some cuts, some low running hooks, and he's got all those kind of shots, and he's been playing well, and I think he's got a great opportunity to get another win here.
All right, now, Andy, I want a surprise pick. Who you got?
Well, this one's going to blow you away because this is a guy who's in the top 20 in the world. He's a fan favorite. He's a betting favorite. It's Jordan Spieth. His record here has just been horrible. He's the kind of guy you expect in the top 10 every week. He's missed 5 of his 7 cuts here. So he's a player that hasn't figured this golf course out completely, but he's playing well. He's hitting the ball very nicely, and obviously he's got a great short game. That should prove him well here.
Players' Championship getting underway in the morning. Early round coverage on ESPN+. As for the top sounds from Wednesday, let's check in with Doug Brown.
Number 5.
Jay, after turning his left ankle during pregame warmups, Kevin Durant did not make his home debut for the Suns. Devin Booker made sure that didn't matter. The call on Arizona Sports 98.7 FM.
Under 9 minutes left. Suns by 31 now. Booker on the drive against Terrence Mann. Spins him baseline. Fades from 15. It's money for Buck. Give him 41 on the night. None prettier than that little dribbling expedition against Trey Mann.
Number 4.
More teams qualifying for the NCAA tournament. The Colgate Raiders make it 3 straight Patriot League titles. John Sadak with the call on Westwood One.
The Colgate Raiders Tigers are going back to the big dance. Colgate clinches a Patriot League record-tying 6th tournament title and becomes the first team in the Patriot to three-peat in 2 decades.
Number 3.
Meanwhile, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders get back-to-back NCAA berths for the first time in school history. Stephen King calls it on 1440 AM.
The Islanders return to the NCAA tournament. Islanders, your 2023 Southland Conference Tournament champions.
Number 2.
Zion Williamson is still out, and Brandon Ingram had to leave Wednesday night's game with an ankle sprain. C.J. McCollum takes over for the Pelicans. The call on ESPN New Orleans.
McCollum bumped by Bertans. Through the legs twice. Crosses him over. Left angle 3. Oh, take that. Get in there. Christian James McCollum. Have some. He's got 27. What a move.
Number 1.
And it turned out to be the last game as Syracuse head coach for Jim Boeheim. And it was a heartbreaker for the Orange. Stan Cotton with the call on Learfield.
Here's Gerard, steps back, long jumper on the way, off target, rebounded by Lake with 6 seconds. Williamson to Appleby, veers to the right, back to Williamson, long 3 to maybe win. Hit it, it's over, hit it, 0.2 of a second. They can't do anything but tip the ball in. Williamson hits it from the deep right wing, right in front of the Wake bench with 0.2 seconds to go, and gives Wake a 77-74 lead.
And as Doug mentioned, that game winner knocked Syracuse out of the tournament and ends the tenure of Jim Boeheim. Syracuse replacing their 47-year coach after that loss. ESPN analysts Steve Wojciechowski and Tom Crean.
One of the great coaches. It's just unfathomable to believe that a guy has spent 60 years of his life at a school, from an 18-year-old walk-on at Syracuse, assistant coach, and the legendary coach that he is. It's tough in many ways to watch it like this, but I think shortly we'll be able to go and look at this. Like, this guy was phenomenal as a coach for decades.
I had a chance to be around Coach Boeheim in the 2008 and 2012 Olympics, and he's as good a basketball mind as I've ever been around. A giant in the game, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like me who, when they first fell in love with college basketball, Jim Boeheim was front and center in the game and the growth of the game.
Jim Boeheim out at Syracuse. The school says Adrian Autry will take over. NBA, KD never took the floor for the Suns last night, tweaked his ankle pre-game. Luka Doncic leaves the Mavs game in the third quarter with a thigh injury. Coach Jason Kidd.
I think we all can see he's not moving well, so shooting, defense, it's affecting, everything. So he's trying to fight through it and help his teammates.
Doncic saying it's bothered him for more than a week. Couldn't, though, really pinpoint when it happened. Only he noticed it when he woke up a day after a game. That'll do it for SportsCenter All Night. I'm Jay Reynolds. It's Thursday, March 9th, birthday of Bert Campaneris, the 6-time All-Star and 3-time World Series champ, is 81 today. Will there be a quarterback change in Green Bay? There is a coaching change at Syracuse. Much more reaction this morning, starting with Key, Jay, and Max. They're next. It's ESPN Radio.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max on. Join us for our inaugural Pickleball Madness Tournament on Saturday, March 18th at the Agape Pickleball Center in Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. The event is open to the public. Come press the flesh with the 710 team and watch them dink and lob all over the court. Bring the entire family and enjoy all the festivities starting at 10 a.m. We'll have TVs to watch the college basketball game, Pop-A-Shot competitions, pickleball demos, complimentary food, a beer garden, a kid zone, giveaways, and more. And of course, special thanks to Johnsonville, Hoffy, and Zico Coconut Water.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Once upon a time, our family had trouble with pests around our home. Did you know that stinging insects send tons of people to the hospital? And teeny ticks and mosquitoes can be all around the yard. Their bites can make people and their pets sick. Mice, rats, and roaches need food and water just like us. You do not want them to visit. They can spread disease and make it hard to breathe. I'm sure glad this story has a happy ending.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cat. Whatever.
Are you just jealous that nobody's naming anything after you?
Not my high school football field.
I mean,
not the practice field. Not even the urinal in the boys' locker room.
I know.
Eastern on FX. Followed by the San Antonio Brahmas at the Seattle Sea Dragons at 10 p.m. Then on Sunday, the Arlington Renegades take on the St. Louis Battlehawks at 4 p.m. on ESPN2. And the Vegas Vipers face the DC Defenders at 7 p.m. Catch every XFL game on ESPN+. Bring it in.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I don't know what you heard about me.
Good morning, Fast Freddy and Jason Williams. How are you guys this morning? What up, Fast Freddy?
We're good. That's my old radio name when I first got started in radio in Portland, Maine.
Freddie, what was the other name we gave you last time we were on the show together? Do you remember? Was it Pimpin' Freddie?
It wasn't. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was part of the Pimp Chronicles.
It was something had to do with being slick. I know that much. Yeah, something like
it was. You guys tried to do the whole Iceberg Slim thing.
Hot sauce. I
don't know what you heard about me. Can't get a dollar out of me.
What is good, everybody? You got Keyshawn Johnson and Freddie Coleman together. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Presented by Progressive Insurance on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPNU. What's going on, Key? How you doing this morning?
Morning, Hot Sauce. How you doing?
I'll give you a quick story about that. I'm visiting my mom and dad before the holidays. And my aunt, she comes over to me and she goes, okay, who's the one that created the whole Hot Sauce Freddy thing? I said, it was just organic how that came up between Key and Jay Will. And I'm thinking right now, I hope she likes it, because if she doesn't like it, then this conversation is going to go on further than it should. And she goes, all you need right now are T-shirts on it that says Hot Sauce. And I said, well, if I do that, I got to give a cut to Key and I got to give a cut to Jay Will, because they're the ones that put that together.
Yeah, but if you're giving any cuts, I can promise you, Jay Will, he an 8% guy. I'll take the rest, which is over.